White Bear Lake has a significant population of aging seniors. We'll find out what services are available to help them stay independent.
The Lions Club has a long tradition in White Bear Lake and will tell you about their latest contribution to the community.
I'm Tracy Minarchuk.
And I'm Kurt Friesen. Welcome to Lake Area Beat.
We're at the Senior Center where we're going to talk about the resources available to our older population a little later in this half hour. Now, how are things going over at the fire department?
Good. 2019 we wrapped up a record year for number of calls. We've recently hired some new employees, working on getting some new equipment and just continuing to progress and take on the next step that White Bear Fire has ahead of it.
Nice, so, moving forward.
Yeah, what about PD?
We've got some new people too.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
New faces.
New faces around there. Treehouse is an organization providing stability to youth who may be experiencing instability at home by providing them with guidance.
Our production crew recently visited one of their meetings to see how relationships are built and futures are shaped. Here are those details.
I was bullied a lot because I moved here in 3rd grade from Georgia, so I was very different, I guess, from people here.
The differences setting Christine Boney apart from classmates at her new school were the very things that brought her closer to other troubled teenagers within the Treehouse Youth Outreach Program.
Are you Madison? Hi, I heard you were coming. I'm Heidi.
With sites across the country, Treehouse is based in Minnesota, providing teens a place of support and belonging, as well as tools to build resiliency, taking a faith-based approach.
And when you enter Treehouse, just know when you leave, you will not be the same.
Heidi Hall, director of the Matamidi site located in St. Andrew's Church, says a lot has changed since starting their program 8 years ago, though the mission remains the same, helping teenagers work through aggression, anger, and depression, providing them a sense of optimism.
Hopelessness does not discriminate. Hopelessness reaches all different people, no matter where you live, what you look like, what kind of home life you come from.
The program, all donation and volunteer-based, provides a space for teens to share meals and their time with the Treehouse team and other teenagers.
Happy Valentine's Day, girls!
They take retreats and have access to mentorship programs. Youth leader Galen Elmore, who gave up a career in football in order to serve, says being a mentor is often about dealing with the day in and day out rather than getting too deep.
Give me 2 claps and a hush.
Having conversations with guys about shaving your facial hair, or why you wear deodorant, or why you open a door for a woman that you may or may not know. Those are the things that we continually do, and occasionally they hit a life obstacle that's a pretty big deal, and you get to walk with that.
The program sets goals for Treehouse teenagers, with 73% believing they're capable and worthwhile, while 80% have goals for their future. Christine, now an alumni, started Treehouse when she was 12 and still has ties as she approaches her 21st birthday.
Where do you want to sit? Yes.
She says her bond with Director Hall, who supported her above and beyond when her mother died in 2017, has shown her that Treehouse is truly like family.
Having people in your life that genuinely care and don't just kind of say they care changes a lot, and it changes your perspective on a lot of things.
Treehouse is always looking for donations and volunteers.
As we mentioned, we're here at the Senior Center where Mary Mengel is an Elder Resource Specialist.
Mary, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So first, can you tell us, when was the Senior Center established and maybe why it was created?
Well, over 40 years ago, there was a need seen in the community for a place for seniors to gather and enjoy educational and recreational social activities. And the school district took on the charge and provided the center. And over the years, things have grown and evolved and changed in different ways. We are still part of the White Bear Lake School District, and we are supported by the school district, whose mission is lifelong learning. And we are also supported by a myriad of volunteers. We have over 300 volunteers that support our programs here, and also the contributions of the community. One of our big supporters is the Lions Club.
Oh, nice.
And they provide financial contributions, and we also have an arrangement with the Lions to provide in-home support and chore services for seniors. We call it our Lions Help program. We're always looking for different ways to be involved with the community. And this center where we're here today is a wonderful place for people to gather. We also provide not only classes and activities, but also support services. So we have foot care nurse, and we have Meals on Wheels program, and we also provide elder resources, and that's my position as the Elder Resource Specialist.
So you mentioned some resources, and you're the resource specialist for the seniors, but what are maybe some other resources? I know the police department, we come in and give fraud and scam presentations. You have other programs?
Yes, we have lots of different programs throughout the year, and we offer programs here at the Senior Center as well as out in the community. So we have a regularly scheduled series once a month at the White Bear Lake Library through our Community Connections series, and we also offer those presentations at the Vadnais Heights City Hall and then also at the Hugo Rice Lake Center. And we really are trying to respond to what the interests are, what questions people are having in the community. And then as the Elder Resource Specialist, I answer inquiries from seniors and from those caring for seniors in our community, either by phone or folks that walk into the Senior Center or who schedule an appointment with me. And so a lot of the presentations that we offer throughout the community tie in with the kinds of questions that I'm getting as the Elder Resource Specialist, so that I can hopefully provide that information to a wider audience. If one person's asking it, there are probably many others. Yeah.
What seems to be the greatest needs for seniors in the White Bear Lake community?
Well, as the Elder Resource Specialist, the top inquiries that I get asked about relate really to helping people to remain independent in their own homes. So this past year, I've had over 500 inquiries, either by phone or walk-in, and the top 4 are related to services in the home to help a person remain in their own home. It could be chore services or home maintenance, or help with meals and laundry, those types of things. And then transportation is also a big need for folks to remain independent when they no longer are driving, so transportation resources. And then affordable housing for seniors, and whether that's subsidized senior housing for those who are low income and are needing a low cost apartment, to seniors who need services and want to move into a housing with services establishment. We have lots of senior housing available, a range of senior housing. but affordable options we're lacking in. And so there's a big need there. And I get questions from folks who are thinking about a transition, whether they're transitioning from a transitional care unit after a hospitalization and wanting to go back into their home and are looking for some services to help them do that, or whether it's someone who's owned their own home for 40 years and is thinking about making a move, downsizing to a different type of housing. So I kind of help people to assess what their needs and their goals are, and then help to link them up with services that can help them.
We're just about out of time, but why do you think it's so hard for seniors to ask for help, or maybe how do they get this information? How do you get this, what you have resources out to them? How do they find out?
Well, yeah, the senior population is very diverse. So when we talk about seniors, it can be anyone from 50 up to 110. Mm-hmm. In fact, we have some seniors who are members here at our senior center come for activities that are 100.
Wow.
So there's a lot of diversity within that age group. But you're right. I think the older, maybe 80, 90-year-olds are fiercely independent, and that comes from the life experiences that they've had, the history that they've lived through, and their longevity. They've gone through a lot in their lives, and the way I often approach it is to help folks to understand that what the options are, what the resources are in the community, so that they can make better informed decisions for themselves about where they want to live, how they want to live, and how to be safe. And when folks have the options, then they can make their own decisions and feel empowered. And I often tell an older senior, who doesn't want to maybe accept services, that in order to maintain your independence, often it's helpful to accept some help, so that you can continue to do the things that you really enjoy doing. Right. And there are lots of resources available in our community. So it's a matter of helping to get the word out. Not only do I meet individually with people, but I also have put together resource guides about the services. There's a transportation, a housing, and a senior services guide that's available for free for anyone in our area. As well as just stopping into our senior center and seeing the resource wall that we have available here, setting up an appointment with me, or coming to a presentation out in the community that we offer.
Well, thank you for everything that you do and everything that you do here. This is a great place for seniors to stop in and check it out, right?
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take a quick break, but we'll take you into the world of malts and madness when we return.
Hi, I'm Sergeant John Vetty. As the end of winter approaches, we're eager to hop on our bikes and go for a ride. But planning ahead can protect you from serious injury. First, make sure you wear a helmet. 2 out of 3 bicycle deaths are the result of head injuries. Helmets can reduce the risk by up to 88%. But helmets aren't the only important piece of equipment. You should have an active light if you're riding after dark. Use reflective tape on bikes and helmets. Use gloves to protect your palms in the fall. Make sure you're maintaining your bike and check your brakes before riding. And of course, follow the rules of the road. Wear your helmet, follow the rules, and enjoy the ride. I'll see you next time.
When you think about nursing, you may not think it's a dangerous profession, but it can be for the nurses and healthcare workers in the ER.
In honor of Certified Nursing Day, March 19th, we take a look at how one nurse's dream job turned into a nightmare.
Why? Why would you not want to keep your nurses safe and your healthcare people safe? Well, I was working in the psych emergency department, and I was coming on to my shift. I worked evening shifts, and there was a patient that had been interviewed by the daytime nurse, and he had been seen the day before and discharged, so they didn't feel the need for him to be there. He got kicked out of his shelter and was there because I believe he wanted someplace to stay. A lot of drugs and alcohol. So I called him over to sit, and in the facility that we have, he would sit in a chair that was about an arm's length away. There was no security guards, there was no barriers of any kind, so he was like right here. And so I said, you know, how are you doing today? I introduced myself and told him that, you know, I know that you were just here yesterday, and did something different happen that you needed to be seen today? And he got up and started punching me in the face. And I fell on my side and hit my head on the wall, and he was on top of me, hitting me in the back of the head. And there's something really interesting that happened, and I don't know if I was unconscious or if your body just has this reaction of, I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear anything that was going on behind me. And I said to myself, am I screaming? Please let me be screaming so that someone hears me. I had lots of tests, and I had a broken nose and bruises and all over the place. And like I said, I don't know if I lost consciousness or not. Sometimes I think yes, sometimes I think no, I don't know. But not until a couple weeks later did I realize that my brain just wasn't working right. I just couldn't think the way I used to think. My balance was off. My ability to think clearly about all kinds of things. And when you're an emergency room nurse, you know how to do that. You know how to think fast, do things fast, make quick decisions. And I couldn't do that anymore. And so I just kept thinking, you know, it's gonna get better. It's just gotta get better. Because this was my dream, to be a nurse. Forever this was my dream. I'm a totally different person than I was. I have turned into being a patient. On my chart it says depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and a traumatic brain injury. Those are the things I have now because of this. This was so preventable. When I tell people that there is no security guard at this hospital, they're appalled. They're absolutely appalled. How could there not be a security guard sitting right there when you're working in a psych emergency department? That's crazy. And everybody thinks that, except the people that are the decision-making people. So if enough people get together and talk about this and make a statement, and I know that Jeff had tried to get a lot of people to talk about this, and they don't want to talk about it because they work there. There's people that work in these, and they're afraid to lose their job. I, however, am not afraid of that. and I get to be the voice.
A White Bear Lake malt shop and a dastardly plan to destroy it. That is the storyline for the annual Lions Club play.
Lion Mike Mackus wrote the play, and he's here to tell us more about Meet Me at the Malt Shop. It's good to have you back, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's been a while, Mike.
It has been.
How's things been going since retiring from the fire department?
Yeah, a lot quieter, not having to get out of bed several times a night. That's always a positive.
Right, exactly. Can you tell us, Meet Me at the Malt Shop, and how you came up with the idea and writing it?
Sure. Well, I'm a big fan of the 1950s. My wife has always said I was born in the wrong era. I love the music from the 1950s, so I've got a lot of fun 50s songs in the play. And I thought something simple of being in downtown White Bear Lake at the favorite malt shop, Dipsy Doos. And I've got a little hook in this year's play with a hot topic in White Bear Lake right now that I think the audience will get a kick out of when I won't tell you what it is, but it is something where there's a big item going on in White Bear Lake that I've kind of incorporated into the play, and I think it'll be fun.
So what is the writing process like when you're going about it? You have an idea, and then how do you go from there?
Yeah, I can usually knock off one of these plays in a couple of weekends because once I get on a roll, I really get to roll, and I just sit down and start hammering it out on a piece of paper. I'm an old-fashioned guy. I can write faster than I can type, so I'll write my ideas, and I might think of a line or a joke or a bit 2 pages ahead, and I'll write it in the margin and then incorporate that later on as I get to that point.
And then do you do a lot of rewrites, or do you
No,
just kind of
actually once I've
a lot of scribbles?
It's kind of first time is the charm. I always think. I when I write it down, I think it's a pretty good idea, and then I just kind of leave it at it is, other than maybe a tweak here or there. But otherwise, it's pretty much what I write down the first time is what we see on stage.
And it's the 74th production for the
It
Lions
is.
Club.
Yep.
And proceeds go to the community. Why don't you
Yep.
tell us about the Lions Club? And
Sure. Well, our club actually has been around for 75 years this year. We're having a big event in April to celebrate 75 years of existence in White Bear Lake. And our club is, we're part of the Lions International, which is the largest service organization in the world. So clubs in 200 plus countries do various fundraising activities to raise money. To all the money that there's raised in whatever Lions do goes back to the community, and we have everything from the schools to the fire department, the police department, other community events that we get engaged in and help with, and that's kind of what our goal is to raise money in this play and give it back.
And how do you decide where it goes? You said there's a bunch of different things in the
Yeah,
community.
there's, people request donations, and we have some pet projects that we like to get engaged in. We're big in the world of diabetes. We're big into sight. We collect eyeglasses around the world, and they're repurposed to people that maybe can't afford glasses somewhere else. So there's a variety of different things that we kind of hold near and dear to us that we might get involved with.
And so tell us, back to the play, what are rehearsals like?
Well, this past week we had our kind of last big rehearsal before. That was 12 hours of rehearsal in one day. That's a long, long day.
Yeah.
We typically get together on Saturday mornings, kind of rehearse the main part of the show, and then we get together one night a week and do dance practice. And that's always a challenge because you're trying to get 35 or 40 people that don't know their left foot from their right foot and trying to figure out how to get them to dance on and keep the musical numbers upbeat and peppy, and and I think we've done that this year.
And what's opening night going to be like?
Well, we hope it's going to be a blast. We're looking for a good, excited crowd, and the first time when I write a show, I always wait for that first laugh. I go, okay, well, it's going to be all right. Then they get my humor or whatever, and once I hear the first laugh, I go, okay, the audience is going to be all right with this.
Is it hard for you to focus when you're acting and you've written it to see what the audience reaction? Do you ever get distracted?
No, my wife says I'm naturally distracted on just about everything, but no, I try and keep in my character. I'm a nerd this year, which is really acting for me because most people say I'm not really a nerd, but that's what once you're in your character, you just kind of have fun with it, and I think the audience, when they see us having fun, they have fun, and that's what we're all about.
Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks,
for
Mike.
being here. It's
You're
nice
welcome.
to see you again.
Thank you.
After the break, we'll tell you about a unique learning opportunity while you wet your whistle. If you love Vikings, and Tracy, we're not talking about the football team, there may be a place in White Bear Lake you want to check out.
This one-man shop gets by with a little help from family and friends. Here's what makes his place so unique.
Sometimes they think we're a meat shop, M-E-A-T, so like a meatery. So it's just a lot of education and just letting people know what it's like.
A trip to the family-owned and operated White Bear Meadery is more than just sampling an ancient honey-made wine.
So this is our tart cherry mead called Vikings Blood.
It's a trip back in time, an experience where history and taste testing go hand in hand, encouraging customers to drink like a Viking.
Wherever they had honey, then eventually they made mead.
Owner Josh Ecton wears all hats, serving as mead maker, bartender, and custodian. His love of mead is what led him to open shop 7 months ago.
My wife and I have enjoyed meads over the years, and whenever we found it, we like to, get a bottle or have a glass, and something that we've enjoyed and we couldn't find a lot of.
With only a handful of commercial mead makers in Minnesota, Ecton started with 2 varieties and now has 9. He says patrons are either quite familiar making their own mead at home or know next to nothing.
Mead is a fermented honey beverage that can use just honey as a base, or we can add spices or fruits to it to make different varieties of meads.
Ecton says word has gotten out and business is up. They have an online store and in-house products for sale, keeping their goods and ingredients Minnesota made.
We try to source our ingredients as much as possible from Minnesota farms. All of our honey is from Minnesota.
Enlisting the help of family and friends, his wife and kids all play a role in the business, if only in a playful capacity, but fitting for a family-friendly space. Catering to those excited to try a new twist on an old classic.
We love making mead and having it available for Minnesotans to come in and taste. So that's wonderful. We're sharing something that we've enjoyed with many people now.
That's all the time we have for this edition of Lake Area Beat. I'm Kurt Friesen.
And I'm Tracy Menarchek. We'll see you next time.
Wet your whistle. Really?
Oh, racy. Look.
Racy Tracy.
Racy. Your center, where we're going to talk about the...
I saw her face.